Now where we left off from last time, we've only got the top coil energized from its line connections, and we're looking at the induction currents in space through the 1, 2, 3, 4 command. And now what we're going to do, since we didn't have time in the last video to show what happens when we actually hook them to their lines, we're going to turn this machine back on again with no field, providing 1 volt, and we're going to show then the influence before and after the line connections. So we'll go turn it on. Now we got the I don't know why I keep saying 9 meter, with the 6 voltage meter readings. Eventually we'll have to use 9 voltage meters when we actually power the field. That's why I'm stuck on the number 9. But that, you'll have that anyway. Okay. As we can see, the only phase being powered is 2-3. It's putting out 8.9 volts, sending in 3.5 milliamps into the system. Since only 3.5 milliamps is going into the system at that point, we don't really expect a lot to be coming out from the air core action. But we do see that the coil underneath of it, you'll find that pretty easy maybe. The coil coming in right underneath of that is producing 6 point some varying amount of milliamps as a shorted secondary, and we shouldn't really be concerned about the voltage across that since we haven't hooked it up yet, but maybe that should be important. Its background voltage prior to hookup is 21.8 volts. That's the background voltage before we hook it up. Okay, so we got 3.5 milliamps going in, making 6 milliamps underneath that, and then up here, those are our actual 3-phase amperages. We're making 0.68 milliamps and 0.70 milliamps on the extra coil. Now what we got to do then is go hook that up to its actual line connections. Now we know then there's the primary amperage. None of the secondaries have been enabled. Well, the secondaries are all enabled by shorter loops. Now we're going to actually hook up phase number 2 to its line connections. And again we see that it's got 6.3 milliamps fluctuating before it's actually hooked to its line connections. And more importantly of all is this relationship here. We want to see it's got 21.6 volts, 1-2 does. We're about to hook it up, and every time we hook up a load to an empty voltage source, that voltage source should drop, and it's going to drop. We'll go hook it up and see how much amperage we get, change from the actual 6 milliamps that we had before. Okay, we've seen it drop then to 11.4, and we did see a rise on that amperage component to 8 point some milliamps, rose 2 milliamps. Now all we got to do left is connect the third part up, and that's resonance number 3, which is now currently being shorted. But now let's look at Mr. Kitical has got into the picture again. And we're going to have to get him out of that picture. Let's look at what that 8 milliamps is now putting out on the third unconnected loop coil. And it's putting out 1.42 milliamps. The extra coil meter went out. We'll move Mr. Kinnickle. Mr. Kinnickle on. Mr. Kinnickle off. Say hi, Mr. Kinnickle. Get off my capacity plate before I get my spray bottle out. Okay, now we only got one more thing left to do. We got to engage that resonance to its line connections. We'll go back to our 9-volt, not our 6-volt meter reading. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually hook up 1-3 in the middle, on the bottom middle, and we're going to watch its drop of voltage. That dropped down to 20.7, and we're right back from where we started from. And we'll turn the machine off and make a couple comments. Well, let's make sure we've gone through everything. There's our 6 meters, and I have to go to the bathroom, so that's it.